Howdy, parents, and welcome to what I like to affectionately refer to as the Youth Lab, or sometimes the Youth Lair. This is in here in my office, in the Youth Suite. Kate's office is there, over there, and Sandra as well. But we're going to do something different today. I normally do a parent meeting about this time of year with you and give you a rundown of the next 6 to 8 months. And there's just not a good time to do that. There's tons of stuff going on. I am actually leaving town on Sunday to go to my brother-in-law's ordination. And then we're in November, and there's lots of stuff happening in November. And so previous parent meetings, I took a survey from y'all a couple of times and got a lot of really positive feedback on two things. You like having all this information so much out front, but the comment was it's really hard to get to the meetings because there's so much going on. But simultaneously, several of you said you love the fact that I record those meetings and put them out to you digitally. So we're going to do a digital parent meeting today. From top to bottom, it's just a video, but we're going to make it fun. Instead of it just being me talking to you like this for an hour, and hopefully it won't take that long, we're going to splice it up. There's going to be several friends pop in and do some stuff in lots of different locations. So all that to say, I'm glad you're here. Enjoy this information. Hopefully it's helpful not only for your planning, but also some of the stuff we're going to present to you just as far as parenting and discipleship goes. I really pray that it's encouraging to your soul as well. So buckle up, hang tight. If you need to hit the pause button, don't hesitate to do that. That's the beauty of the video. Just please stick around to the end. Here we go.
Hey y'all, I'm here to talk to you about Bloom Groups, which happens in this office with some of these girls from 4 to 5 on Sunday nights. Bloom Groups are an accountability and discipleship group, and our next Bible study that will happen in December, because we're having a no-meat November because of Hanging of the Green, we're going to be doing this study called More Than Pretty, which is defining beauty through the lens of Scripture. I'm super excited to do this with some of our girls, and we'll see you there. Bye.
I am really excited to introduce you to Mr. Will Shillette. Will is our new missions and youth intern, which means, and we're going to have him for the next 2 years, but that means for the next 2 years, he's going to be hanging out with us in the student ministry quite a bit, and you'll also see him hanging out with David Bayette and all the mission teams, and I suspect any number of other things around the church too. But Will, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I just finished a 2-year Bible Institute in New York, and through them I'm doing an internship here with the youth and also with missions.
Will's holding a book right now that's pretty important. So the girls have Bloom Groups, and they do a pretty good job. But us boys are the ones that have a really great time on Sunday nights because we're studying the disciplines of a godly young man. It's 15 different disciplines that we believe with all our hearts that every young man should have. And there's a few other things that we throw in too. But we study that on Sunday nights from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. It's intentionally short. We have a great time. There are always Oreos. Well, no, I'm not going to show you where we hide those, but that's pretty important to know too. But it's an excellent time. It's always actually just right under an hour because any of the boys that want to go serve in Kids Rock or Truth Trainers or Cross Trainers or Truth Trackers, they have time to leave here and go to that. But we meet every Sunday night from 4 to 5 o'clock. Will's going to be leading here this coming Sunday and be leading more and more as we continue to progress this program from him. But we want you to come be a part of Forge Groups. But Will, we're glad you're here, man. Welcome.
Also, fun fact about me, I don't care for October and even a lot of November, solely because that's the most boring color time of the year, especially that awful burnt orange. There's just never a good time for that. But it does mean that we're getting super close to Christmas time, which Kate's already talked about a little bit, but I'm excited because November, it kicks off us practicing for Hanging of the Green. And really, there's a lot of good stuff that goes on with that. And you can see I've already got my Christmas shirt on because I love Christmas. I'm excited to celebrate that. But Hanging of the Green is going to be practiced every Sunday morning after church, after connection groups. And then, of course, if you don't know this, the first Sunday of December, that's when the youth group gets to lead the church in starting the Christmas season. We actually get to lead the worship service that morning. So we spend the month of November practicing that, but we don't just practice music because that would be kind of lame. We actually spend several of those Sunday afternoons out serving in the community. And one of the biggest ways that we're going to serve is going to be through Operation Christmas Child. If you didn't know, last year we sort of helped spearhead that, and we were able to pack 400 Operation Christmas Child boxes, which was awesome. We're hoping we can surpass that even more this year. The church is going to help out dramatically. But what you need to know is that we want your kids to get signed up for Hanging in the Green. We've got an online link to that. You should be able to see that in the video right now. The email I'm sending you has a link for that as well. But we want your kids to get signed up. It's $10 for Hanging in the Green. Again, we practice every Sunday after connection groups, every Sunday in November. We'll feed them lunch. We'll practice our music. We'll go out and serve together, and then we'll have them back. Should be well before kids cross trainers and truth trackers begins for those that serve in there. We don't want to take up all their afternoons. We know they've got homework and stuff, but it's a great opportunity for us to serve our church family and for us to serve our community as a whole. And it's a cool opportunity for us to get excited about Christmas, which we certainly are. So thanks so much. Get signed up for Hanging in the Green.
Merry Christmas! Hey y'all, we just wanted to give you another opportunity and your kids another opportunity to know an area that they can step in and serve and also earn some more of those fun vouchers that we have promised for serving, for camps and for mission trips. And it's just a super fun time. And we're gonna be doing a Christmas zone on December 14th. And we're asking for volunteers to be here by 4 to 4:30 to help set up. And then we'll be wrapping up about 9 and tearing things down. So Laura's gonna go ahead and explain some of the areas that they could be serving in.
Yeah, so Christmas Zone is gonna be just a really fun night. Everything Christmas. We're gonna have a happy birthday party for Jesus. We're going to have bounce houses. We're gonna have stuff in the gym for the kids to run and play. We're gonna do some crafts, nativity crafts and things like that. So it's gonna be a really, really fun night. And we need the youth's help. So please, if your youth is interested in coming, get them signed up. We'll make sure they get vouchers, and we want them to be a part of just the super fun night. It is in connection with our connection groups, so that they can do their Christmas parties. And so you guys might even be at Christmas parties with your connection group. So it's a perfect opportunity for your kids to have a place to go serve while you guys go party it up. So hope to see y'all there.
Hey y'all, I am coming to you from my favorite store in my favorite section, which is Hobby Lobby Christmas section. And I'm also a huge rule follower, and I know I'm not supposed to be filming here, so I'm really nervous. But I'm gonna talk to you about our Christmas party on December 18th. That's gonna be from 6 to 8. There's gonna be presents and food and lots of fun. All of the Snack Shack items in December are going to be $1 instead of 50 cents. And that's because that extra 50 cents will continue to build and build until the end of December. And then we take all of the money that we fundraise and we're going to give it to someone special who deserves it. So I think that's everything that I had to say. I've done this like 5 times because everybody wants to walk into my video and it makes me nervous. So bye.
Disciple Now, or DNow as we like to call it, is happening here back at the lake this year. We're excited to bring it back home. We're going to continue to partner with all the other churches we've been doing it through. And Misfits is actually called Misfits Weekend. We don't call it DNow so much anymore. But Misfits Weekend, we are the home church. And we're excited to do that. But with that comes some added responsibility. The advantages are we don't have to drive to Grand Prairie for the worship services. That's great. But that also means we need a little bit more help this year. The group's going, so we need some more host homes for sure. But we're also going to need some of you parents that aren't already involved in Upward, because we don't want to disturb Upward. That's a big deal. That was the deal I made with Katrina whenever we said that we would host DNow this year, that we wouldn't get in the way of Upward, and we won't. But I need some adults that are willing to come and hang out with us that weekend and just help be host for the weekend, because there are really going to be anywhere between 500 and 700 teenagers, many of whom have never been in this building before. They're going to be here, and they're going to need to know their way around. Y'all know how big the campus is. On Saturday morning, there are going to be a handful of workshops that we're doing. We're doing a little bit of a new approach with DNow. Instead of having 3 big worship services, this year we're having 2 big worship services. But on Saturday morning, we'll still meet here, but the students are going to have 8 different workshops to choose from, each on a different subject for them to sit in and just learn from a master teacher in one of those subjects. And I'm not any of them, nor do I want to be. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to be on one of the Q&A panels, and it's Ask Your Youth Pastor Anything kind of thing. And it's me and 3 other guys going to sit on that panel. But Dr. Lamance is going to be teaching a class. Dr. Richard Ross is going to be teaching one of the classes, and I'm excited about that one because that one's actually for you. Dr. Ross, who is our DNow speaker, is going to come that morning and be speaking to any parents that want to come and learn about more about godly parenting and what that looks like. He is a internationally renowned teacher on that very subject, so you won't want to miss that. And by the way, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Even if your kids aren't in DNow, you can still come hang out that morning and listen to Dr. Ross, and I would love for you to do that because it's going to be really, really good. But again, I need lots of host homes. I need lots of help hosting that weekend. We always need drivers. We like for our host homes to have partners so that they can help with food. DNow is an exciting weekend, and it's going to be really, really great again. This year, it is January 17th to the 19th, President's Day weekend, that Friday, all day Saturday, and then part of Sunday morning. And then the students all have school off on Monday. So it'll be another great time. So y'all get ready and then come help us out. Get your kids signed up. We'll have those registrations coming up soon. But we want to start getting host homes lined up right now. So if you're willing to be a host home, let me know. Thanks, y'all.
All right, Upward Basketball is right around the corner. It's one of our church's biggest outreach. So all these grids, I don't know if you can see it or not, but all of these grids have to be filled up with coaches and assistant coaches. So if any of your youth are able to come and lend a hand in an assistant role or maybe a referee, or if they want to come and man the snack shack and give out hot dogs, we would love to serve alongside them. The season's coming up pretty quick. The older kids actually start, older kids as in 4th grade boys and 5th and 6th graders start December 9th. That's new this year, before Christmas. And then everyone else starts January 6th. That's that first week that school gets back after Christmas break. Would love to have you guys.
So who do I talk to?
Talk to Jonathan Casper
What's up?
or myself.
Awesome. There you go. Gig of Maggie's, right?
Nope, go Tar Heels.
DBU.
Woo!
Hey y'all, I am coming to you from the girls' headquarters, which is my office, but specifically to the parents of high school girls. I'm going to be talking to you about Therefore. Therefore is a conference. It's a 2-day conference on a Friday and a Saturday, Friday night through most of Saturday, on February 21st and 22nd of 2020. It's going to be the same kind of deal with DNow, where we have a host home. The girls will meet us at the host home, and we'll go over on Friday night and soak up as much of the conference as we can, then come back home to the host home, debrief, sleep as much as we can, and then spend all of Saturday at the conference. That is at Central Bible Church, which is formerly known as Pantego Bible Church, so it's not very far. The tickets that we are going to be selling you are going to be $40. Tickets are normally, I think this year, $60, which is crazy. But with our group rate and with early bird, we are able to knock that down for you to $40. That includes just all of the speakers that is there. That includes lunch from the conference on Saturday. It's Chick-fil-A, which is pretty great. And just a number of little things, like this was our ticket last year. It's a little necklace, and this was our little key to get in, along with a goodie bag full of books and resources and different things that they can use. So I think $60 is a lot, but I think $40 is the perfect price for all of that. Early bird tickets go on sale. Well, all tickets go on sale November 1st. So we want you guys to sign up, at least sign up and say, like, we're going to go by November 1st. So then we know how many tickets to buy. They have sold out pretty quickly in the past. There's been no door tickets available. So we really need you to tell us whether or not you want to go to this. Last year's theme was worthy. which was just talking about how we find our worth in Jesus Christ alone. And this year's theme is reflect. And the verse that is backing that up is 2 Corinthians 3:18. It says, "And we who with unveiled faces all reflect the Lord's glory and are being transformed into his likeness with ever increasing glory." I am so excited to take our girls to this. Again, it's just high school girls, junior high girls. You'll get your chance in a couple of years. But sign up and let me know if you want to sign up. Please text me, email me with any questions or with interest. And also, if you would like to host a group of 10 to 15 girls, please let me know. We're looking for a host home for that. So thank you guys.
So let's talk about mission trips. We are going to have 3 missions opportunities really over the course of the next 8 months that we're pretty excited about. 2 of them are for sure thing. The third is likely, but there's some stuff up in the air, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But the first one, though, that we're really excited about, that's Bosnia. We're actually leaving for Bosnia December 27th. Now, you can't sign up for that one anymore. That team is set. We're very excited about the team that we're taking to Bosnia. That's going to be a great trip, and we're pumped about working with the Greenwich family. So we're going to be helping them with the ski school that they lead, as well as probably getting a hand in their sports camps there. But ultimately, we're just helping them build relationships with teenagers and with families over in Bosnia. The Greenwiches called us about this time last year and asked us to send a team, and I'm thrilled that we get to do that. So that's the first one. Please be praying for us. Again, we'll leave December 27th. The plan is to return home sometime between January 3rd and January 4th. We're looking at flight options and what's the cheapest and that kind of thing. But that trip's happening, and we're excited about it. The other trip, though, that for sure is happening is over spring break. We are going to go back to the children's home in Matamoros. Now, it's been years since the student ministry has had the opportunity to go and serve in Matamoros. But we're really excited to get to do that again. Of course, you know, at least maybe you know, here in November, there is a team of adults that are going over there to do some building. We are going to go over spring break, and this is for junior high students and high school students. We're going to go and help lead VBS kind of stuff. We'll do a little bit of construction work for them. In short, it's anything they need that particular week. But we're going to be hanging out with the kids and helping them bless as many people as we possibly can. The plan is, and I don't have solid dates on that, but the plan is we're thinking we will leave that Saturday before technically spring break starts. I know spring break starts at noon the Friday before spring break. We'll probably leave town Saturday, Sunday morning at the latest. We'll fly down to McAllen and cross the border from there and spend a couple of days at the children's home and then fly back home. The goal is to be back Wednesday evening. And so it's not your entire spring break, just a portion of it, but that'll be a really great trip. And then our goal also is for that trip to be about $150, $200 at the most. We want it to be cost effective because I don't want anybody getting left behind. And please know, especially with mission trips, if money is the only reason that you're not signing up, please talk to us, because there are lots of ways to get your child on the plane or the bus or whatever fashion it is that we're taking to go on some of these journeys. The last missions opportunity is going to be over summer break, and we're thinking really seriously about going to Spain. As you may have heard, last month we are helping to establish a seminary in Spain, and there's an opportunity for us to go in the student ministry and not only finish helping establish the seminary, but also work with some of the local church plants there. We have some of our people there on the ground, and we want to go and be an assistance. Now, that's the one, again, that one's not set in stone. There's a couple of other missions opportunities that we have for this summer as well. I will be letting you know about that one as soon as possible. Chances are really good that will happen in early June as well. So this will probably be the first trip that we do this summer, but you'll have that info quickly, and we're excited to get that rolling. But if you haven't realized it yet, one of the things that's important to me as far as planning mission trips goes, I want to plan mission trips and partner with the people that our church already has a partnership with. Now, that's not a hard and fast rule. The last 2 years, we've gone down to Houston to help with hurricane relief because we're Texans, and that just made good sense to help take care of our local neighbors. But most of the time when we plan mission trips, we want to partner with our church planners. So that's why we went to Loveland, and that's why we went to Seattle, and that's why we're going to Bosnia, and that's why we're going to Matamoros. These are all people that we've helped establish or that we've been supporting for years and years and years. That's why we're looking at Spain as well. So your kids have grown up in church hearing about all these places. We finally have the opportunity to send them to these places and then come home and let the rest of the congregation know what's happening on the ground and how we can continue to pray and support them. So it's great opportunities, and I hope you are, at this point, just be prayerful about your willingness to let the kids go. By the way, in the Matamoros trip, something important to know, your kids will need a passport, but all they need is the passport card. And that's $30. You go to the post office and apply for that. It's a fairly painless process, but they will need their passport card. But we'll get you more information to that coming down the road. We're excited about missions, though. That will always be a big deal in the student ministry, I promise.
Hey, youth parents. My name is Thomas Schroeder. If you haven't already met me, I'm the new college and young adult pastor here at the Lake. Just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself, let you know who I am and what we've got going on within the college and young adult ministry. So originally, I spent a lot of my time growing up between Northern California and Arizona, which is where my family still is, over in Tucson. And so unfortunately for a lot of you Cowboys fans, I'm a 49ers fan, it's a good year for us, but I've been a fan for a long time. Other than that, I've kind of bounced around since leaving Arizona. I played college baseball for 5 years, had a huge blessing getting to play that. Played 2 years of junior college ball out in Arizona. Played at UT Arlington for a year, and then I played my last 2 years at Oklahoma Baptist. And then school-wise, academics-wise, my degree is in interdisciplinary studies, which is like a triple minor. And so my minors are pastoral ministry, apologetics, and economics. And so it wasn't an easy couple years, but we got it done. But hey, what we got going on here, we're really excited about. If you haven't already heard, we have our college and young adult group is called The Run. We are meeting Thursday nights from 7 to 9:30 here at the Lake. It's been an awesome time of fellowship and community, and just a time where we really value relationships, and that's really what we look to engage the community with, is solid biblical relationships. And then in addition to that, we just got home groups started, which is so cool that we are taking small groups of people within the Run, and we're putting them in the homes of families in the church. And that has been an awesome way that we've been able to continue growing in our relationship with just some incredible families here. Now, there's been some really cool conversations between me and TJ as far as ways we can partner between the youth ministry and the college and young adult ministry. And one of the really cool ways that we're going to get to do this is for second semester seniors. This is starting this spring. For second semester seniors, we're going to open the invitation up for them to join us on Thursday nights. And so not just to say, hey, this is what you should be looking for material-wise, giving somebody a piece of paper and saying this is what you should be looking for once you get to college, but really to show them, hey, this is what biblical community looks like, and this is really, now that you've experienced it, what you should be looking for once you go off to college. In addition to that, there's going to be some cool ways that we're going to look to partner between the college and young adult ministry and kind of your guys' realm of things. But we are so excited to partner and just to continue to grow in relationship with some awesome people in this church. Man, so thank you for watching this video. Thank you for spending some time with us. Hope to meet you guys soon. Have a great day.
Sex is awesome. Okay, now you're all paying attention to me again. That's great. I'm coming to you from the bridal suite and also the home of the newlyweds class that we have here on campus. And it seemed like the perfect setting for me to talk about this next subject with you. Coming this spring, we're going to be having our Sex to the Max series once again. We do that about every 2 years. Now, see, you're going, wait a second. Again, you just said sex is awesome, and now you're saying sex to the max, and you want to take my kids through that. Yes, I do. The more traditional title for this series is True Love Waits. And I stopped doing True Love Waits about 10 years ago, because the series got stale, and even that line like just goes right through students' brains, and they just don't think about it. And so we intentionally gave it, and my 60-year-old senior pastor helped give me the title, no less. Intentionally gave it a title that was a little bit more in your face, definitely caught your attention, but ultimately the goal of the series is this: we want your students to experience sex at the highest and most magnificent and maximum level possible. And the only way that can happen is by approaching sex with a biblical mindset. And so we're going to talk to your kids about sex from the scriptures. We're not going to look at puberty. We're not going to look so much at body parts. We're not going to be talking about STDs. And we're definitely not going to be working to scare your kids. Fear and shame are terrible motivators. They just don't work. And if you look at statistics and sexual activity stats and STD stats through the 80s and 90s, you'll see that fear and shame were terrible motivators. And that's what we were so good at teaching and preaching during that time frame to students. Praise God, about halfway through the 2000s, that has started to shift, and we approach it in a more biblical mindset. And that's the way I want to approach it with your students too. But we do. We use a very in-your-face title like Sex to the Max because we do. We want your students to experience sex at its most maximum level. See, because here's the thing. The scriptures show that sex is a gift. It's something that we should be treasured and something that should be honored. It's not a flippant thing, and we're not going to speak about it in flippant terms. But it's also not a shameful thing, and it's not a dirty thing, and it's not something we need to be quiet about. Because the Bible talks about sex a lot. And not just in the don't sense. It talks about it in really positive senses a lot too. And that's the stuff that I want your kids to see. Because again, joy and love are far better motivators to pursue something. And I believe with all my heart, and it's been my experience, that when students understand the joy of sex, without obviously experiencing it firsthand, but they understand that sex is a gift. It's something that truly is worth waiting for, and it's worth treasuring, and it's worth respecting, and it's worth saving that for their spouse someday. They will respond to that so much better, and so much they'll respond so much more motivated towards that than they will in the other hand. So the plan is this: we will start in March, probably just after spring break. That gives your brand new 7th graders, by the way, a few more months to continue to acclimate to being a teenager and being in the youth group. That and spring is the time when students get Twitter pated. And so it just makes sense to talk about sex in that mindset. Again, we only do this series every 2 years, although frankly, we should probably be talking about sex more. It is too big a subject in Teenageville to not cover. We are going to cover some hot topics. You will, by the way, you'll have access to everything before and after I teach these lessons. You'll know exactly what we're going to be talking about. You'll know the scriptures that we're going to be preaching. I have a lot of that stuff printed out for you. You'll obviously be welcome to come and sit through these series. And if like you want to come sit through the series and not send your kids, and just take that information and take it home, you're more than welcome to. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. By the way, this YouTube channel you're watching right now, you can go back and watch the videos from 2 years ago when we did the series, and you can see exactly what we did, including the wonderful wedding video that we shot. Kate and Jordan, if you didn't know this, they got married at midweek worship on the night that we kicked off Sex to the Max. It was awesome, and it helped set the series up so well. I don't think we're going to have a wedding this go around. We will most certainly relive that moment, though, with Kate and Jordan, though, which will be a lot of fun. But again, guys, the goal is we want your kids to see that sex is a treasure. It's a beautiful thing that should be respected and cherished. And I've seen, praise God, I've seen that happen as a result of this series. But we got lots of time, so don't worry. Again, March, it's a 6-week series. We'll cover some heavy stuff, but we want you to be a part of this with us. Because again, ultimately, it's your job, and I want to help empower you to do this even better, and I want to help reaffirm the stuff you're already teaching your kids. But it's your job to disciple your kids in all these things, including the sex talk. So let's have some fun with this.
Hey y'all, I'm Jared Phillips. I'm the new children's pastor here at the Lake Church.
And I'm Laura Myers, and I'm the new children's associate.
And we just wanted to take some time to tell you some opportunities for your kids and you to serve together, or just your kids serve on Sundays, Sunday mornings and Sunday nights. So Laura's going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about labs.
we have every Sunday morning during worship, we have opportunities for your kids to serve with the preschoolers and hang out with them. We need some adults as well, so we'd love to have you come alongside your kid, or even if you're a leader, come alongside some of the students that you work with and come and serve with our youngest members. We will allow the youth to serve once or twice throughout the month, and we'd love to have them.
Yeah, and anytime they're wanting to serve, just have them contact us, or y'all can contact us. Another opportunity on Sunday mornings is at Kids Rock. And this is the time where we have our elementary service, 1st through 6th grade, and it's a blast. There's some of your youth that are already serving on the worship teams, the drama teams, but what we ask of them for Kids Rock is to show up and actually be present with the kids, interacting and sitting out in the audience with them. And so, yeah, if they are wanting to serve at Kids Rock, please, again, have them contact me, and we'll figure out some times. And also, they're not going to be serving at Kids Rock more than twice. We really want them in big service as well. So yeah, they can just pick those Sundays and we'll kind of plug them in. And also on Sunday nights is another huge opportunity for them to be able to disciple and learn how to be a disciple. And so they can serve alongside some other adults that we already have serving with our preschool through 6th grade kids. And so that is from 5 to 6:30 at night. And so yeah, we would love to have y'all and your kids involved in our kids ministry.
Hey y'all, if you didn't know, Faster Than a Pastor is happening again this year. It's March 29th, and I just wanted to tell you, you're not going to beat me. But I want you to come try, okay? I really, really do. And just so you know, students that beat me, they get $10 extra to go to camp this year. Same thing we did last year, only one of them did it. He was a stud. I want to do it again. But yeah, come try to train, come try to beat me, Faster Than Pastor. I'm already training. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter. It's raining outside, that's why we're in here. But still, come train for Faster Than Pastor. Let's raise some money for a bunch of kids. We also need a bunch of volunteers, so come give us a hand. March 29th.
Parents of seniors, I know that you are anxious to know the date of Senior Sunday, and I'm excited to share that with you. That's going to be on May 24th. That's the Sunday before all of our seniors this year graduate. So go ahead and stick that in your calendar. It's going to be a great day. I'll be in communication with you lots more between now and then to get photos and all that good stuff. But it's going to be a super sweet day. I know that you're excited and dreading it all the same, but we're excited to celebrate with you. So get that down in your calendars, May 24th. The thing maybe everybody wants to know is when and where we're going to camp, and I'm thrilled to tell you we're once again going to Camp Lake Lavon, July 4th through the 8th. Camp is going to start at 3 o'clock on the 4th, and so we still have plenty of time to observe the 4th of July parade that morning, and then leave here probably at 1 o'clock and get to camp in plenty of time. There's a fantastic speaker again this year. The band's always great, and then you can see the amenities are phenomenal. So we're thrilled to go back to Lake Lavon. Again, that's July 4th through the 8th. Camp will cost $175. You also should have the dates for VBS and Kids Camp. VBS is going to be June 22nd through 26th this year, and Kids Camp will be July 17th through 21. Both of those we will need students in the youth group to serve at, so be thinking about those dates. So hopefully by now you know that I love to resource you. You're looking above my nope, that's Reveille. Over here is one of my bookshelves. I have 4 in my office and then a couple of more that I've hidden away in places. And then I have more books at home. I do read a lot. Yes, I've read most of the books in my shelves. And I look for information because I want to get better at what I'm doing, but I also am looking for resources that I can point y'all to as well. So I wanted to give you 4 books today that I know will be helpful. The first one, we've already talked about Christmas a few times. Let's talk about Christmas one more time. I don't know if you and your family ever do Advent together in December, but it's a really great, fun practice. And this is an Advent book that I can highly encourage. It's called Waiting Here for You, and it's by Louis Giglio. This is where Pastor Eric would want me to tell you that Louis is a Baylor guy, grew up in Waco, a good dude, and basically everything he does is phenomenal. He's a fantastic communicator, really good author though as well. But this is a really simple, easy to follow Advent calendar book. Every devotion that your family would do, would take you about 5 minutes. There's a passage of scripture you read, there's a listed prayer, and a devotional thought. And what's great, like they're not looking for you to open this up and begin to preach a sermon to your family. Literally, you just read everything in the pages together and pray together. It'll take you 5 or 10 minutes, but it's a solid practice. It's a solid practice to do anytime, but certainly in the month of December as you get ready for Christmas. If you want to do the candle thing as a family, that's great. It's not essential, but Advent's a great thing to do. The other thing, and this I've been doing this with my family, picked up a new book called If, What If? And I got it at Lifeway, which you may or may not know. The Lifeway store in Fort Worth is closing here in probably another 2 or 3 weeks. I bought this for $5 at Lifeway, and it's a 365-day devotional. And the premise is, and we do it at the breakfast table every day, is it's 2 thought questions that set up the conversation for a particular passage. It's all on one page. It doesn't take long, and more often than not, it gets not only my kids giggling each day, but my wife and I too. So let me give you a couple of questions. This is Devotion 90. We haven't got there yet, but I think this one's pretty funny. The if question is, if you had a magic plate that never ran out of food, what would you do with it? The follow-up what if question is, what if you co-owned that plate with a homeless person? Well, the devotion goes on to talk about Noah and his family and how they were figuring out how to make sure they had enough food for all of the animals on the ark. Here's what's really sneakily cool about this particular devotion book. The first 100, they're literally just 1 verse a day that you look at. So it's not hard, it doesn't take a long time, but as you build throughout the year, they start to sneak in a few more verses every day. So by the time that you finish a whole year's worth, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 12 verses every single day. But the thought questions are fun. Sometimes, as I've read it from my family, keep in mind my kids are 12 and 10, sometimes it's spot on, and then other times I think, well, this is a little bit too much for them. It's intentionally designed for mixed families. So even if you've got teenagers and little kids in the house, this can be a helpful book for you. And again, it's pretty cheap. You can find it on Amazon, but if you rush to Lifeway, you may be able to get one for even cheaper than what I got. The book I'm most excited to share with you about, and I can't remember if I told you about this one or not, but it's called It's Just a Phase, So Don't Miss It. You remember when your kids were little and you took them to the pediatrician and they had those growth charts and they said, okay, your kid is 6 months old, so he should be doing these things by this point. Or your kid's 2 years old and so she should be doing these things by this point. They should be this tall and this wide, da-da-da-da-da. This is sort of the spiritual equivalent of that, and it is from age 0 all the way through age 18. And it talks about the different phases of their life physically and the different phases of their life spiritually. But it breaks it down into 3 sections, and I want to read this to you because, again, it's really, really good. Phase 1 is every phase has significant relationships, and so it talks about relationships and how they matter for elementary age kids, middle school kids, and high school kids, and then setting them up for college. Phase 2 is every phase has present realities you need to understand, so the chapters are know who they are now, read their mind, discover the world, and interpret their motives, which I think we can all agree is pretty tricky to do, but this book is really helpful. The last one is every phase has distinctive opportunities you need to leverage. And this is helping you understand, okay, your kid is 13. These are the things that they're into. Here's how you can leverage that information ultimately to help disciple them and help them know Jesus better. Y'all, it's a solid book. It was put together by Reggie Joyner and his crew. Really helpful resource for me. I check it frequently. It's colorful. It's not hard to read. There's lots of charts and graphs if you're into that sort of thing. And it is. It's just a helpful resource. You can grab it on Amazon. I think last time I checked it was probably $15. Really, really great resource. So again, It's Just a Phase, So Don't Miss It by Reggie Joyner and Kristen Ivy. And the last resource I want to show you, it's mind-blowing, I know. It's just the scriptures. And I want to show you the scriptures for 2 things. And please don't think I'm being cheeky here, because I promise I'm not. Number 1, I wanted to show you off something. I have a very cool Bible cover now that I'm really excited. One of the students did this for me. So I have a Texas Bible. That's fun. This is the Bible that I use to teach your students on Wednesday nights and frequently when I get to preach from the pulpit. So this particular version of the Bible is the Holman Christian Standard Bible. Now it's actually called the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible. But either way, that's the version that I use to teach the students from. But let me actually endorse a particular version of the Bible for your teenagers. If they don't have a Bible and they need one, get them the New Living Translation. It is a right down the middle of the road. It's not a word-for-word translation, but it's not just a thought translation either, but it's easy for teenagers to understand. And I will frequently, when I'm quoting verses to them, I will quote verses from the New Living Translation because it's something they can grasp. It's not goofy like the remix version of the Bible is, and it's it doesn't change anywhere near as often as NIV does. And so, again, the New Living Translation. But y'all, if nothing else, be reading the scriptures. You can't go wrong, and read the scriptures to your kids. Truly, think about this idea. If you're reading the scriptures at home before your kids ever wake up, and when they come to the breakfast table, if you just said to them, "Hey, you won't believe how cool this verse I just read to them." Honestly, it's not that much different than what I do with your students, because frequently what I'm teaching them is an overflow of what I'm studying myself. If you would just show them your interest in the scriptures, it piques their interest and causes them to want that a little bit more. And so you be reading the scriptures, whatever version is that you want to use, and then translate to that. Again, you don't have to preach a big sermon, but just show them the things that you are reading, and that'll pay off too. Again, just some simple resources, important resources. You are always welcome to come and raid my shelves. I'd be overjoyed to share with you, but you can't borrow Reveille. She stays here. Okay, let's talk about some apps. The first one's the WhatsApp app. This is one you may very well use all the time, and it's handy for any number of reasons, particularly if you're looking to contact people in other countries, which obviously we do around here on a regular basis. The downside to WhatsApp, though, is it's an easy way for teenagers, and there's lots of apps they use this for, to disguise who it is they're talking to or what messages they're being sent. It's easy to make phone calls through the app. It's easy to send text messages through the app. It's easy to send pictures through the app. And WhatsApp uses a high-level encryption, and they don't keep a list of the messages and records of stuff that's used, which makes it hard to recover on the other end. So, again, doesn't mean that WhatsApp is inherently bad. It just means it's something to be mindful if your kids have that app and what they're using it for. TikTok is now the most popular version of social media for teenagers. Actually, it starts even below a teenage age. It's not uncommon for elementary kids to be on TikTok. In and of itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It is designed to make little music videos of themselves. They're short little clips. They're almost always funny and amusing. And yes, people are getting famous using TikTok. And that's why teenagers do it in the first place. They post these videos because they're looking for likes. They're looking for people to tell them they're great and hopefully make some money in the process, which is possible. The downside to TikTok is this. When students post a video or make any kind of post period, if they don't get a lot of likes, research has shown it crushes their spirits. Or when they get a lot of criticism, it crushes their spirits, understandably so. If privacy settings aren't set up properly, anybody in the world can watch your kids' TikTok videos. And as you can imagine, sexual predators love this app because of the opportunities that are availed themselves. So let me encourage you, watch what your kids are posting, talk to them about it, and let me even just give you a fun challenge. Make a video with your kid. Mary Dixon is the queen of doing this. She's one of our teachers, and it's so much fun seeing what she does with her daughters. Talk to your kids about TikTok and have some fun with it in the process. I know you know what YouTube is. It is just nearly the most popular web page and app on the planet, certainly for watching and sharing videos. It's something like 1 billion videos go up every day. It's ridiculous. But did you know there's a lot of porn on YouTube? Because there is. Not to mention just really explicit music videos and conversations, and not all of them have the parental ratings on them that you would think. In other words, just because something has nudity involved doesn't mean it requires verification of an age like YouTube is supposed to have. Some of that stuff slips through. Listen, I love YouTube. I would imagine you do too. It's fantastic and lots of fun. And it really is one of the most popular places for teenagers to hang out and just laugh together. On any given Wednesday or Sunday, we have kids that are just watching YouTube. They're not playing games. They're just watching YouTube videos, going through it sort of brainlessly. And that's not necessarily a problem. Let me just encourage you, find out what your kids are watching. Check their history. You can totally do that on YouTube. Set up the parental settings on there for sure. But then watch videos with your kids. Laugh with your kids. Ask them what they're watching. See if they'll even show you some stuff they're watching. But then follow up with those conversations. It can be really, really fruitful time for you. The next two are absolutely infuriating because both of them are designed to disguise a teenager's actions from you as their parents. One is called Calculator Plus, and the other one is called Hide It Pro, or HIP. Calculator Plus is designed to hide pictures and messages inside an app that is designed to look like a calculator. In fact, if you see this logo there, it looks like a calculator app, and so you as a parent that are just trying to keep an eye on your kid's phone, you're probably likely going to scroll right over that, not think anything about it, except that calculator works as a PIN number, and then inside the app itself is all sorts of stuff they just don't want you to see. It even has the ability to hide apps inside of this app. It's really, really sneaky. The other one, the Hide It Pro, or again, HIP, is designed to look like a music player. Again, a music player you're going to probably not pay a lot of attention to, but same principle. You open the app, you put in a pin, and it hides all sorts of stuff that your kids don't want to see. There are numerous apps that function like this. These just happen to be the most popular. But if you see an app that says HIP, again, or Calculator Plus, or something that's described as Volt, those are apps you don't want your kids to have. And so the easiest way to check that, just go into your app store and see what apps have been purchased. And then if it's not one of your apps from your family apps, talk to your kids about that. This last app called Vora is sneakily dangerous. Vora is designed to be a fasting app. Fasting is now the new fad diet over in Hollywood and really just across the world, which is really sad because that's not ever how God intended fasting to be. There are some medical benefits to it, but the principle of fasting is to connect with God. We used to call it anorexia, now we just say fasting. But for teenagers, there are lots and lots of them using this app to track how much they haven't eaten, and they're frequently using this, young ladies and young men too, who have body images, trying to solve that problem. So if your kid has this app, just like all the rest of them, have a conversation with them. Ask them, why is it they feel they need to have this app? The last time we met, I got some feedback from you and asked specifically, what are some things that you would like to talk about? And one of the comments that came back more than once was, we'd like to know what you're doing to keep our kids safe. And I'm so glad you asked the question, because that really is important to me. Number one, that we do keep your kids safe, but number two, that you just have the confidence that we're doing everything we know to do in order to not only have a healthy program, but just have students that are thriving and feel that they're safe physically, emotionally, spiritually, and so on. But as far as their physical safety goes, here are some things that we have put in place. Some of these have been in place for a long time. A couple of these are fairly new things, and we're going to keep adding to this list because we want to keep adding layers. But here are really the 5 things that we're doing or trying to do in order to keep your kids safe. Number one, any person that works with a child of any kind in our church, whether it's babies, kids, teenagers, if they're working with kids, they have a background check run on them. And it's a pretty intense one. For a while, we were contracting with a couple of companies that were running background checks, and we felt good about it until we discovered fairly recently that those companies were filtering the background checks, meaning they weren't sending us all the information that was coming up on the background check. They were just sending what the companies deemed to be pertinent. Well, that's not what we were paying for. We were paying for all the information. So we've ended our contract with them, and I'm happy to tell you, we actually run a double background check. But the first background check we run, we just do directly through Texas DPS. And we're thrilled to be able to do that because, well, you don't mess with Texas, right? In all sincerity, the Texas DPS background checks are solid, really, really helpful. But just to have another safety net in place, we have another organization that we're filtering, or we're working our background checks to. They've assured us they don't filter things. We've tested out, and so far so good. So every person working with kids has a double background check run on them. But then on top of that, we actually we have an application. When somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I'd love to work with teenagers," there's an application you fill out, and on there, just like any other job application, there are references that they list, and we call those references and we talk to them. Specifically, we're looking for references for areas where they've worked in a church before, or where they've worked with teenagers before. And one of the questions that I will ask them is, would you feel comfortable having them work with teenagers with you again? Because that's a pretty telling question. Sometimes, a phone call you make, like, oh yeah, that person's great, you'll love them, blah, blah, blah. But then if you say, well, why'd you let them go or why'd they leave? That's when the hemming and hawing starts. So we're being very mindful of that. Just because somebody wants to work with teenagers doesn't mean they get to with us. You got to know that. But just running background checks and just having references is not all that we can do. Think of it in terms of, and there's a fellow that wrote a book on this, and he calls it the big gate, the big fences and the little fences. Big fences take care of big predators. For instance, if you put a big fence around a garden, that would keep the cows out, but that wouldn't keep the rabbits out. That wouldn't keep the foxes out. And so you have to put up not only a big fence, but you have to put up little fences too, and that helps filter out the predators even more. What you need to know about background checks, what happens is just a little bit less than 10% of people who are actual offenders, child sex offenders, are actually in those programs, because less than 10% of them have been caught. Many of them are still out there and they're still hurting kids. We're fully aware of that. We beg God all the time to protect us because of that. But then we also do our due diligence. So one of the ways we protect our kids is anytime there is a event, there's always 2 adults around. That's important. That is, again, to the best as humanly possible. We're not legalistic about it, but we're pretty stern on it. We have 2 teachers in every classroom. I'm thrilled to tell you that there are 2 teachers in every classroom on Sunday morning with students. On most of our Sunday night program, there's always 2 adults around. When Kate and I are meeting with students, doors are open. There's windows on our offices. Miss Sandra is right there in the middle of us, listening in and knows what's going on. There are adults around, and that's to protect your kids. That's also to protect us too. We do live in a world where accusations get made that are not always true, and so we also want to protect our volunteers as well. But at the end of the day, the most important thing to us is want to protect your kids. So there's always 2 adults around. There's also a 60-day waiting period for anybody that wants to work with kids of any age in our church. So when someone makes that application, when they've joined our church, they have to wait for 60 days to do most of the jobs in the church, but certainly when it comes to working with kids. And anybody, when we explain to them why, anybody that wants to work with kids will understand why when we explain to them, hey, we're all about child safety, we're running background checks. That takes some time, and we just want to make sure everything's okay. Anybody that's on the up and up won't mind that 60 days at all. People that are predators, that bugs them and they go away. So that's another little fence that we put in. And the last thing that we're working on, and I don't know how long this is going to take, but this is something that will happen someday. There will be cameras in every classroom in this church. That's obviously a pretty expensive venture, but we're trying to figure out how best to do that. And it's just, again, that's just one more layer of knowing not only what's going on, but also what happened too. Cameras are handy for a number of reasons. We have them on the bottom floor of the LC. We don't have them on the second floor of the LC, but that's one of our next steps. So if you got a bunch of money laying around, you want to donate to that cause, we would happily take that. But in all sincerity, guys, we genuinely want to protect your kids. If you've got thoughts or ideas, we're open to that, because we're all the time having this conversation. We're also looking at policies like, pictures. Is it okay to take pictures of your kids and that kind of thing? And we're really trying to think through all of this stuff, because your kid's safety is essential to us, just like it's essential to you.
If you haven't done it yet, we really want you to join our text messaging system that we use nearly every week for lots of important information. If you're a student, send a text message to the number 81010, and that text message needs to say the @ TLCUTH, or in other words, TLC Youth. That's for the students. Parents, we want you to use a separate one. We use that same phone number and send it to @TLC Rents for parents.
Last night, at midweek worship, we started to study the book of Revelation. Basically, since day one, your kids have been asking me, hey, can we study Revelation, study Revelation? That's not a new trend. I've been in youth ministry for almost 18 years now, and that and sex are all I ever want to talk about, and a few other things, of course. So we're excited to jump in the book of Revelation. We're going to be doing that from now till mostly through January. But it jumped off, as you can imagine. I walked him through a little bit about who John was, not John the Baptist John, John the disciple of Jesus John, whose brother was James, not the author of the book of James, but the brother of Jesus, James, and then John was, of course, following Jesus, and that was a lot of fun to go through. Several students continued, "Are you sure this wasn't John the Baptist?" No, it really was. It wasn't John the Baptist, different John. A lot of Johns in the Bible. So we walked through that, and then we covered all of Revelation chapter 1 last night. And it did. It turned out really, really well. But I told the students, and I want to tell you this too, part of the reason they're excited to study the book of Revelation is because they want to learn what all the weird stuff means. And most people who go through the book of Revelation, they want to learn what all the weird stuff means. And so I told them right up front, I don't know what all the weird stuff means. And by and large, anybody who tells you what all the weird stuff means with absolute certainty is lying to you, because the weird stuff is the weird stuff for a reason. There's a lot of the book of Revelation that interprets itself. For instance, in chapter 1, there's a few weird things that pops up, but Jesus actually says, this is what you're seeing, what it means. And so we're going to walk through the book of Revelation, and when it's clear what it means, we'll explain it to them, and when it's not clear, we're just going to be honest and say we're not sure what this means. But we could jump into the historical interpretations. We could go into the original Greek. We could look at maps, and we could go into who said what and when and why, and who in history kind of maybe fills in what the book of Revelation here is talking about. But the fact of the matter is, if I did that, it would be interesting and the kids would think it's cool, but it wouldn't cause them to love Jesus anymore. And so here's what's on my heart that I want you to understand, and I hope you'll take this to heart too. When you go to pick your kids up from youth group, or when you get your kids from Kids Rock or wherever, anytime you jump in the vehicle from a Bible study or whatever, please don't ask your kids the question, hey, what'd you learn tonight? And it's not that them learning stuff doesn't matter. Like, I hope that they learn stuff. In fact, it drives me nuts when your kids say, I already knew all that. That's, again, not uncommon, because I know when they come home from school and you say, hey, what'd you learn at school today? Nothing. We know that's not true. That's the height of arrogance, but part of being a teenager by default is a little bit of arrogance, and we're kind of arrogant as adults too. But learning is not the point of why we come do what we do. When we congregate as a youth group, and when we congregate as a congregation, the point is not to learn things. The point is for us to fall in love with and understand who Jesus is more and more and more. In fact, that's what the entire book of Revelation is all about. And I told them this up front last night. The book of Revelation is not about the end of the world. The book of Revelation is about the revelation of Jesus as the King of the universe. And hopefully last night they saw that and got that, and certainly by the end of the book I'm praying that they see that and understand that. But even more so, again, knowledge is worthless. In fact, the scriptures about themselves say, knowledge just puffs up. It's love that causes us to grow. That's from 1 Corinthians. And so my goal every time I teach your kids, and hopefully the goal of anybody that's teaching the scriptures to your kids, I can tell you this is the heart of every pastor here, but our goal is to help your kids fall in love with Jesus more. So don't ask them the question, what did you learn today? Instead, ask them the question, how were you challenged to love and follow Jesus more? And they might not know how to respond. And in fact, your younger kids, elementary kids, they're not going to know how to answer that question. It's okay to ask them, what did you learn today? But your teenagers are ready to be challenged in that way. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I know that's what you're trying to do at home. So any way I could partner with you in that, I sure want to. All right, y'all, there you have it. That is our digital parenting meeting, and we pulled it off in just under an hour. So you're welcome. The only thing I'm sad about is the fact that I wasn't able to give you cookies, but I'll give you a hot tip. If you have the Chick-fil-A app, at least for the one on Little Road, they're giving away cookies if you have the Chick-fil-A app for the next few days. So go down the Chick-fil-A app. You can get you a free cookie that way. More importantly, though, if you've got any questions over anything that we talked about today, please, please, please call me, text me, write me, email me, flag me down on Sunday morning. Same with Kate. We want to be helpful to you. We mean that with just all sincerity. We love how you are raising your kids, and we want to be a blessing and an aid to you. You are the leaders in the discipleship process. We're excited to partner with you in that process, and ultimately we're excited to see what God's going to do with your kids, because they're pretty great, and we love them to death, and we love seeing how God has gifted them and how He's using them now. and we're even more excited to see what He's going to do with them in the future. So God bless you guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Go home, folks.